Hi everybody, nice to see you here. For those that don't know me that well, my name's Kate, and it's really cool to have you all on here today for the 2019 Life by Design planning. It's pretty exciting, and I'm going to do it live here with you all on the Zoom call. So my name's Kate. I live in New Zealand, and it's currently summer here, summertime Christmas, although we still have the beautiful tree with the lights and all the wintry things on it. And it's this time of year that we start planning towards our goals and dreams and things for next year, 2019. And like 2018 has been a huge year for me, so I'm really looking forward to 2019 now as well. And I'm really grateful to be able to share my knowledge with you guys and how I do my planning for the next year ahead. So what we're going to cover today is I'll have a to you about what this kind of work entails and how I came about learning about this, and then some pre-planning work, so what kind of stuff you have to have in place first before you can kind of put pen to paper and do your planning, and then we'll do the scheduling, which is the funnest part, the prettiest part, and that's incorporating your 3 to 5 big goals for the year and 5 kind of smaller ones per month that broken down into smaller parts to help you reach those bigger goals. And then at the end, I've got some surprise bonus stuff for you. So some extra tools and templates for you to be able to get on with this and help you do this yourself. So I don't expect you by the end of this session to have created your 2019 Life by Design plan. It definitely takes some time. There's some things that I'll cover in this session that will be about why you need to think about it a little bit more, because you need to make it your best year yet, right? That's your goal, that's your plan, your wider mission. And there's some steps to take in order to do that. So just got some notes here that I'm following, hence why I'm looking off the screen a little bit every now and again so I don't get sidetracked. It's very easy for me to get sidetracked. So if you're watching this on the replay on Facebook, please pop replay in the comments below and let us know where you're dialing in from as well. We've got a really global audience joining us, so that's really fun. So how I came across this kind of Life by Design planning, over the last year and a half, I've done some awesome personal development myself, for personal and professional development for me, my mindset, my business, and my life by design. So the lifestyle that I choose to live, basically. And that's, I've worked with some people locally here in New Zealand to do this, and in this session today is a collaboration of all the things I've learned. So this is a bit of a disclaimer that I'm not a life coach, and although I'll take you through a little bit of mindset work and stuff like that, it's not my specialty. I'm just passing on the knowledge that I've learned through this. So hopefully that will help you guys. And if you'd like to dig deeper into some of the mindset stuff or the life coaching stuff, I can help point you in the right direction for that as well. I have a really great network of people all around the world that can help with these sorts of things. So that's what's got me to where I am today. So it's really cool to be able to share this with you guys. So why is it important to plan ahead, to do your Life by Design for 2019 planning? So I'm a real fly by the seat kind of person. I don't like to have too many plans, because what if something else comes up that's a better offer, basically. And I travel around a lot. I like to keep my options open. And when I started doing this work, this was one of the, blocks that stopped me from putting pen to paper, because I felt like if I wrote it down, I was scared, what if it didn't happen? And that's one of my fears, and we'll talk about that in the mindset work a little bit. So, but why is it important to do it? Because it gives you clarity and it keeps you accountable. So that's what I've learned from it. And I'll show you in a minute my previous 2 years Life by Design and how that's worked out for me, and why I trust the process now, and have that clarity and accountability that keeps me delivering on my goals every time, every month, every year. It's really exciting. The other reason why it's important to do this kind of planning work is it gives you an easy schedule to work off. You won't get sidetracked or overwhelmed about what you're doing, because you're doing it for a purpose, and it's all tied in with your core values and your big big rock goals, which I'll talk about as well. And it's also an opportunity to visualize, which is really important when you're dreaming big. So having visualization is something that helps you to reach your goals, because you can almost touch it and feel it if it's written down on a piece of paper. It's there in front of you, and therefore that's what you're aiming for. If it's not written down, it can get lost in your thoughts and the distractions and everything else that's happening in your life. So it's really important to visualize and have it written down. Another reason why it's important to do this kind of work is that it helps you to identify what needs to happen, so the steps that need to happen in order to live your best life by design. So this is personalized to you. I'm not going to tell you what kind of goals you should have to live your best life by design, because it's completely individual to every single person. But it just, writing it down again helps you to identify. And as I said, we're going to break it down into smaller steps, and that's how you're going to be able to see the bigger goal and how you're going to get there. So a bit of a plan. And on the other hand, it also helps you to remove the things from your life that don't serve you, and that aren't going to get you, or that are going to block you to getting to your life by design goals. So in this planning, I'm mostly going to focus on 2019, but I'm also going to touch a little bit on future. So 1 year, 5 year, 10-year plans, because you always have to have that in mind as well, so that you are kind of heading in the right direction, I guess. So you're going to identify the things, and it takes time, but you're going to identify the things that you currently have in your life, or that you're currently focusing too much attention on, I guess, and that's stopping you from living your best life. It's taking up time, it's taking up your energy, and we're going to pop some things in there that are going to overcome that, and that you're going to want to do instead, and it will eventually filter out all the things that you don't want to do, but you just do by distraction anyway. So basically, you're much more likely to live your life by design by scheduling and visualizing than just hoping and dreaming and continuing as you have been. You have to be growing for things to change, right? Like, nothing changes if nothing changes. I know it's a cliche saying, but it's so true. And if you're just hoping that next year will be better and you don't do anything about it, then it's not going to be. It's going to be exactly the same as this year, and you're going to stay in the exact same place. So that's a little bit about what it's all about today, and why it's important to do this kind of work. So next, I'm just going to touch on the mindset and the framework stuff. So this is the important planning stuff that you need to do in advance of putting pen to paper and scheduling. The importance of personal development. So as I mentioned, I've been doing personal development was never something that I knew that much about. It's definitely a bit more of a buzzword now, and a lot more people know about personal development and are plugging into it. It's a lot more easily available these days, I think, with online and audio and a lot of personal development books. Perhaps it's always been there, but perhaps because I've plugged into it in the last year and a half, I'm seeing that a lot more for myself. It's the visualization, right? So the importance of personal development is, for this kind of work, is so that you can figure out who you are, what's important to you, your values, your core values, and your big rocks. So when I talk about big rocks, I talk about the really, really big things that are important in your life. And I'm going to share a video in my Facebook group after this that shows what the big rocks, where that kind of comes from. But some of you may have seen the video before. It's a glass jar. And basically you have some big rocks to put in the jar, some pebbles to put in the jar, some smaller ones, and some sand and some water to put in the jar as well. And it's all about the order that you put things in the jar in order to fit everything in the jar. And it's obviously a euphemism for your life. So if you put the sand in first in your life, so that's just all the small things that don't really matter that we get caught up on, like, oh God, we missed the rubbish this week, or someone forgot their homework, or lost my keys. Just the little things that we get ourselves wound up on, that's the sand. So we tip the sand in first, or even worse, tip the water in first. So water takes up a bulk amount of room. Tip the sand in, that expands in the water. We put the pebbles in, that's some other things, catching up with friends, so some stuff that's important to you, but it's not like the big 5 things that are important to you. And then you try and put the big rocks in, and they don't fit because you've put everything else in first. So this is the importance of knowing what your big rocks are, and you've got to put them in first in your planning. You know, you've got to schedule your life around your big rocks, the most important things, and everything else fits in around it. And it does, like, it takes time, but everything else does fit in around it. But you'll feel so much more fulfilled and living your life by design if you're doing it your way and based on those big 5 rocks. So I hope that's making sense for you all, guys. The other importance of personal development is that it will help you to face your fears. So as I mentioned at the start of this training, when I started doing this work, it took me so long to put pen to paper because my fear was, what if I can't do it? What if I write it down and I don't hit that goal? You know, I was so held back from that. And now I'm just like, who cares? You know what? I'll do my best to get to that goal. And as I said, so far, everything I've written down has turned out for me. So I trust the process and I know it works. And that's what's lost that fear for me now. But I think what got me over that fear was just write it down, and who cares if it doesn't happen, because it's my plan, my goal. It doesn't really affect anyone else. And right now I'm thinking about me and my direction. So write it down. If the goal needs to shift a couple of months, then that's what will happen. You know, if something else comes in, obviously there's stuff that happens in life that we can't predict or plan, and that's absolutely fine. Like, that's life. You know, we wouldn't be humans if that didn't happen. And the more you put yourself out there, and the more that you set your goals quite high, that opens you up to a lot more that could happen to you as well. But it's all about having the mindset and the personal development work to be able to handle those things as they come along the correct way, and know how to move your schedule the correct way as well. So the other thing that's really important when you're making these schedules is planning your life by design is having a really strong why. Why do you want to change? Why do you want to have a better life? You deserve it. You're definitely worthy. And that's part of the mindset work. We're all worthy of living our best lives. But, you know, your why, you have to write it down and be really strong on it. And I can give you some extra stuff about that as well if you need it. So your why isn't, you don't want to live your best life because you just want to get a suntan next year. You know, it's not deep enough. So you need to get deeper and deeper. Is it for your kids? Is it for your health? Is it for your longer term future plans? You know, and you can break that right down to get a really, really strong why. And another saying that's used quite a lot in personal development and professional development is having a why that makes you cry. So it's getting really, really deep on your why. Like, why are you doing anything in life? What is your purpose in life? And if your why is really strong, you won't get off track. And when you do, you only need to come back and read your why again to get back on track again. It's a really strong tool to have. So my why doesn't necessarily make me cry, but it fires me up. It gets me back on track. It's exactly why I do what I do. And it's a really exciting tool to have in the toolbox. So I'm gonna lead into some questions now about your what I was talking about, your big rocks, and how you define your big rocks and what they are. So and after that, we're going to come back and do a little bit of reflection on 2018 and a little bit of forward thinking for 2019, and then we're going to do the pretty schedule. So let's get started on that. So in order to find your big rocks, your 5 big rocks, we do an exercise that's called the 8 forms of wealth. And I'm going to share with you now a template that I will share with you all at the end as well of my forms of wealth. So your forms of wealth are what makes you tick what are the most important things in your life. And here we're going to make a list of 8. So it might be career, finance, family, health, anything like that. Nothing's right and nothing's wrong. It's individual to you. So it's the big chunky things that you need to have in your life that complete you, that are important to you. What's important to you, what makes you tick. This just helps you get to write things down. So as I call out these questions, write some things down, and they're not right and they're not wrong, and you don't need to have 8 right now. Make 15 if you need to, and then define them down. But what's most important to you? What makes you tick, like on a daily basis? What makes you really get in your flow if you're doing this thing, whatever it is? What makes you feel good? What are you passionate about? Passion is so important. So what are you really passionate about? And don't, when you're answering these questions, guys, think about yourself. Don't worry about what anyone else thinks, or try and block those fears away for now. Just write it all down on your piece of paper. So what and who do you love the most? And what can you live without? And what can't you live without? So I'll read those questions for you again, so you can make these, just write down anything as soon as it comes to your head. You know, instincts are a big thing, and you can define them all later. So what's most important to you? What makes you tick? What makes you feel good inside, like really deep inside? What makes you feel good? What are you passionate about? What do you love? And who do you love? And what can you live without? And what can't you live without? So hopefully you've been able to write a few things down. If you're watching this on replay, obviously you can pause and rewind and listen to those questions again. I think also these are all pretty, you know, serious, deep questions. But if there's something lighthearted you're not sure of, you know, if you you know, what makes you laugh as well? That's really important for me, humor in my life. So what makes you laugh? So for me, you know, my nephews make me laugh. Hanging out with friends, I like to, you know, we're laughing all the time. That's an important thing for me. You know, what do you love? It could be lighthearted. It might be bananas. Write it down. We'll define everything shortly. So just write down everything that you can think of. And then once you've done that, what we're going to do is we're going to form those into your big rocks, your 5 big rocks. So these are your 8 forms of wealth. So you may have 15 things written down. So with those 15 things, or however many you've got written down, you need to define them into 8 things. And right now I'll share with you my 8 forms of wealth template, so you can see what my ones are. Let me just screen share. Here we go. Okay, so now you can see my 8 forms of wealth. So mine are travel / adventures, and you know, I'm a big one for slashes, where I can't fit everything in to 8. So you'll see that here. Travel and adventures, I've kind of put them into one thingy. Health is important to me. Family and friends, my career, and with that, personal development is a big part of my career. Finances, so financial stuff. My inner well-being, so inside me as well as outside me, but my inner well-being, my mindset, and my mental health. Growth is really important to me, so that's how I've learned about all of this, because I've invested myself in some growth learning. And I'm continuing to grow all the time. And giving and volunteering, it's a big part of my life. So these are the 8 that I've formed. So if you've got 15, like I said, just try and fit them into 8 categories like this. It may be that you have to leave 1 or 2 things out, and that's okay. We can deal with that afterwards, and I'll show you how we can still fit them in. But 8 big things to start off with. And from here, we're going to define these into your 5 big rocks. So basically, it's just choosing the 5, putting these in order and choosing the 5 top ones is what we got. So on this template, as you can see, it's used for, so under travel and adventures, I can put in these boxes here, in these cells, easy daily activities, rituals, or habits that are related to each of these things. So for health, it might be that I go for a 30-minute walk or 30 minutes of exercise every day. So these are daily things. Family and friends, it might be just keeping in touch, or it might be a phone call to one of my family or friends every day. Travel and adventures, it might be planning my next travel and adventures every day. Career and personal development, so I might be listening to personal development audio every day, and it might be just 20 minutes of that every day. So as you can see, you can just fill in the bits here. Finances, I probably don't do something every day for that, but maybe it's a weekly thing. So instead of daily, I'll just put weekly in here, weekly, and it might be just savings. It might be monthly if you get paid monthly. Something like that. I also do a bit of financial planning for the next year as well. So it doesn't really happen on a day-to-day basis, but it's important to me and it needs to be part of my 2019 plan. So it's one of my 8 forms of wealth for sure. Inner well-being. So this could be listening to mindset audio, or it could be eating the right foods, eating well daily. For growth, again, it's probably some online training or reading a book that's growing me as a person or in my business. Giving and volunteering. So I do that quite regularly. I probably don't do it daily, but I am involved on a volunteer committee. So for me, that's my volunteer committee, Camp Quality. I'm sort of ongoing organizing things for that. But throughout the year, I have bits and pieces for my giving and volunteering plugged into my 2019 planning. So from this, I'm going to define what my 5 big rocks are. And I know that my 5 big rocks are the first 5 things on here, because that's just how I created this spreadsheet. So these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are my 5 big rocks. And these other 3 things are important to me, and they will be part of my Life by Design 2019 planning. But these 5 here are my big ones. And these are going to be what my 3 to 5 big goals for the year are going to be based around. And these things here I just see as helping me to reach those goals as well. So hopefully this is all making sense, guys. Please pop any questions that you have if you're watching the replay in the comments, or if you're watching live now in the comments on the Zoom feed, and I'll answer those for you. I'm just going to try and keep this going though, so that we don't go on forever and ever. So hopefully this is making sense. So your 5 big rocks. So list your forms of wealth, your 8 forms of wealth, or your 15 forms of wealth, and choose 5. And that's going to be your 5 big rocks that you're going to fill your schedule with, and fill all your goals around. So, and they're going to be incorporated into a monthly schedule that I'm going to show you shortly too. So what you can also see here is life vision. So what are the above working towards? So, and this is just kind of something to put in here so you can kind of see where these are heading. So so my life vision for my travel and adventures, so my longer term life vision are to travel full time. And I kind of say this like that, but actually I don't want to travel full time, but I want to have the freedom to be able to travel full time. So my health, I just want to be strong and what's the word? Flexible, pain-free, I think, in my joints throughout my life. So that's a life vision. So you guys can kind of see where this is going, my career, personal development, so self-employed, full-time, and that gives me the freedom and flexibility to work from wherever. That's a big goal for me. Financially free, and then you can do this for all of these. Some of them it might be a little bit harder to show a bigger life vision or goal, but just type something in here that is the bigger goal that these daily ones are working towards, and that will just help keep you a little bit on track. So and your 2019 goals, which we're going to jump back over to now, they're made up, as you can see here, they're just made up of smaller daily goals, weekly goals, monthly goals that become rituals or habits. We need to turn them into rituals or habits so that they happen every single day. And if it's stuff that you have answered these questions correctly, so what's important to you, what makes you happy, what makes you tick, all those questions, then it becomes easy to live by your habits and rituals. So hopefully that will help you. So that's the 8 forms of wealth. I'll just stop sharing for a little minute, and then we're going to jump back over to a little bit of 2018 reflection. So I just wanted to show you those first, so that you can see how I've done it and you can see where we're going to head to afterwards. But before we do the largest planning schedule, you need to know, kind of have an idea about what you want to do in 2019. So what we need to do first is reflect on 2018. So 2018 reflection, it's really important to reflect on the year that's been so that you know where you're moving forward and be grateful for things. So I want you to make a list, and you can just write these questions down if you'd like, and then pause me if you're watching on replay to have time to do this. So 2018 reflection. I want you to write down 10 things, so number 1 to number 10, that you're grateful for in 2018, that you've learned in 2018, and that you're most proud of in 2018. So it doesn't need to be 10 of each, just 10 things, and these are the questions to help you find those things. So what's been your highlights of 2018, that you're grateful for, that you've learned, that you're most proud of? And if you'd like, you can, if you're struggling to find those 10 things, I find it also helps to reflect on the opposite. So not what you're least proud of, but what happened in 2018 that you don't want to happen again. So I think I talked about what question did I have before? What didn't serve you in 2018? What do you feel, and this might take a little bit more personal development and mindset work to really come to the front of your brain, but what do you feel got in your way? What blocked you in 2018? Write it all down. So as I was saying, it's really important to visualize and get this all written down on paper, because A, you can refer back to it, and B, visualization is a very, very strong tool. So once you've visualized something, it's very likely to come into fruition. And so I'll just give you a little bit more time, and then we're going to move into, from there, 2019 goals. So if you'd like some examples, guys, I can tell you when I've done this exercise myself, some types of things that I've written down. And I don't want you to copy these, because these are personal to me, and everyone has, as I said, an individual plan and how things work. But so what 10 things I'm proud of or grateful for, or what I've learned in 2018. I'm pretty proud to have started my goal, my life goal of living an endless summer. So that was something that I popped down in my planning in 2017. I popped it down at the end of 2017 for 2018. I was so scared of writing that down because I couldn't see how it was going to happen or how it was going to work. But it did, and I just trusted the universe and the process, and it worked out for me. So what I was just showing you there, and then I realized it's too soon to show you, is my 2017 and 2018 schedules, which is what I'm going to show you how to create after this. So something else that I'm pretty proud of in 2018 is that I became a full-time house sitter. That was something that was in the plans for me, to have a little bit more freedom and flexibility, and that went global. So that was a little bit more than what I expected to happen this year. But again, when you visualize it, it's almost like being careful what you wish for. This has happened to me quite a lot lately. If you visualize it and write it down, it comes to you, especially if you're putting these plans in place to make it happen. So I am proud of, in 2018, getting the type of work that fits my lifestyle, contract work to suit my lifestyle, so that I can have my online businesses revolving around that, and I can also travel revolved around that. So I'm pretty proud to have done a lot of personal development and mindset work that's meant that I have learned to trust. I've dropped a lot of fears, and I've learned to trust the universe and the processes that I'm working through. And that was a massive realization for me halfway through the year, when things just fell into place more than what I could ever have imagined. And I couldn't even work it out how or why. I'm a very, what we call in the color spectrums, green person. So I'm analytical. I guess I'm more scientific than magical. So I like to know how everything works. I want to see the fine print. I really can't get my head around things if I can't see how they work. And that was probably a big one of my fears, I guess, not being able to see how my endless summer was going to turn out, because I went away not knowing, not having the plans, not probably having the finances, but everything fell into place that meant that I could stay away from New Zealand winter for as long as I did and start my life of living in endless summer. So pretty happy that I have learned to trust the universe now, and it all worked out for me. So that's just some examples, guys, of my list, 10 things for 2018 reflection. And it's really important to do that reflection for 2018 so that you've got kind of like a foundation to start from planning your 2019, right? So let's move on to 2019 goals now that we've done the reflection. So you've got your 8 forms of wealth written down, or your 15, and you've defined that down to your 5 big rocks. And you've also got your 2018 reflection. So with all of that combined, we're now going to create 5 to 10 plans or goals for 2019, right? So in order to do that, you need to write them down. So things that you want to happen in 2019. And they should kind of, to guide you, if you can't think of 5 to 10 things, look at your 5 big rocks and figure out what plan you want to make in 2019 based on each one of those 5. So for me, maybe for career, which is one of my big 5, I want to, by the end of 2019, I want to be full-time in my online business. There we go, I've said it. This is me doing my life planning right here, guys. So just write down one goal like that for each of your big 5 rocks. And if you've got more, great, but 5 is the minimum. So write down 5 big goals for the year. It might be health related. It's all to do with your big 5. So if you have health in your big 5, if you have family in your big 5, if you have, dietary, like food related stuff in your big 5, exercise related stuff, things like that. I mean, that would probably tie into health anyway, kind of go a bit more high level on things. So make your 5 to 10 plans or goals for 2019. And it's a mixture of things, mixture of your 5 big rocks. So personal, business, family, whatever it is, health, whatever it is in your big 5. Hopefully that makes sense for you guys. Now, don't be scared to go big. And if you have a fear of making a call like that, so for instance, I want to go full-time at my personal business by the end of this year. If you're a little bit scared to put a date on it, then make it a beyond 2019 goal. Because as I said, we're going to touch slightly on 5 and 10-year plans as well here. But we're mostly focusing on this year. But put it down, because it's something that you're going to start working towards in 2019. If it's not something that you think is going to eventuate in 2019. But we need to dream big, remember? I don't know if any of you saw a post that I did recently about, it was a quick story, I'll tell you a quick story, about a business coach who did some work with a very affluent, wealthy man. And the affluent, wealthy client had paid the business coach his fee, but wanted to tip or give him a bonus of more. And the business coach was very humble and said, "No, sir, I'm very happy with what you've paid me. That's it. You don't need to pay me anymore." And the affluent man said, "Well, then let me give you a gift. What gift would you like?" And the business coach said, "No, there's no need." He said, "Please, you will offend me if I can't give you a gift." And so the business coach didn't want to offend his client. And so he said, "Okay, let me think." And he came back to his client and he said, "My hobby is golf. If you would like, you could gift me a golf club." And the affluent man said, "Very well. Keep an eye on the post. This will arrive for you." And anyway, days and weeks passed, and the business coach wondered, nothing arrived. That was strange. He pushed me so much for, to give me a gift or a bonus, and nothing's arrived. But oh well, whatever. He's very humble. He carried on. He's serving his value and purpose with his other clients, and therefore doesn't expect anything extra, and just let it pass. Forgot about it. A couple of months later, an envelope arrived in the mail, and he opened, and it was from his very affluent, wealthy client. And he thought, oh, that's right, this client. Oh, this is strange. This is a letter from him. Maybe he's decided not to gift me the golf club, or why it's been delayed or whatever. So he opened the letter to read it. And it was the deed and title to a golf club. The entire golf club. A golf course. Not the club that you play with, not the tool. So that's just a little bit of a example of dreaming big, dreaming bigger, and I think when you do these plans, these 2019 plans, once you've got the 10 written down, I now want you to write down next to them why you want that to happen. So why do I want to go full-time in my own business? I don't know why. Because I enjoy it, and so I can help as many people as I can in my full-time business, because that's what I enjoy doing. And so that's reasonably easy for most people to work out why they have a goal, and you can write that next to it. But the next part is what will, sort of hit you in the feels a little bit. Now, next to all the whys, so you'll have 5 to 10 goals and why you want to reach those goals in 2019 or beyond. Next to the why, I want you to write down the consequence if that goal didn't happen. So, or if the outcome didn't come. So it's usually feeling related, and this is what makes it hard for us to set these goals, because it's tied to feelings if it doesn't happen. And that's what was holding me back, facing my fears of writing down that I want to live an endless summer 2 years ago. Because financially, I couldn't see how it was going to happen. The green in me, analytical, couldn't figure it out. But my life coach helped me, and if I put these certain things into place, she knew that it would happen. And the visualization techniques that we use when we write down these goals. So please don't be afraid to dream big, but write down there what it means to you if those things don't happen, and this might really, really get you. So if I don't go full-time in my career, that hits me, because I can't serve my purpose as much as I want to in helping others to live the life that, to do this kind of work. This is me in the weekend doing this kind of work. This is me after work doing this kind of work at the moment. Yes, I'm only working 6 to 8 months of the year, and that's great. That's my life by design planning that's made that happen. But I want that to be more. I want to be able to work my full-time business longer so that I can help people. And I think you can probably feel my fire and my why coming out when I talk about this. It's so important to me now, and it's tunnel vision. Like, it's going to happen because I've done this work and I can see that it's happening. So I'm very excited. Anyway, so write down those, guys, and pause me if you need the time to do it now before we move on to the next bit. But the other reason why it's really hard to think big is because we have limiting beliefs, and that was a little bit to do with like my endless summer goal. And it's because, we've grown up and we've been brought up certain ways. We've been brought up in an education system that teaches us one way. We've been brought up with social pressures of, going to university, finding a great job, finding a partner, getting married, buying a house, having a baby. Whether it's in that order or not is a little bit looser now. And obviously these days there's a lot more looseness going on with careers and things like that. So a lot more flexibility and openness. But definitely those social pressures are still there, and it's ingrained in us. But they're limiting. They're just beliefs. So everything we currently believe to be true is because we've had years of that belief plugged into us, or that's how we've been brought up by our parents and our families and our teachers and our mentors, and it's what we know. But it doesn't necessarily mean it's what has to happen or that it's the truth, because the truth is just what we believe, what anyone individually believes, right? So therefore, you can make new beliefs. You can reset your brain to have new beliefs, but it will take time to sit with you and to feel comfortable and to allow yourself to write down your new goals based on those beliefs, or to talk to it about anyone else, or to show anyone else your beliefs. Gosh, I didn't talk to anyone about my dream to live in endless summer for so long, because what if it didn't happen? You know, but that's just, that's something, that's my limiting belief. And of course it could happen because there's other people in the world that are doing it, and it's possible. So if it's possible physically to do, then it's possible for you to do it. So I hope that helps you guys. Obviously, this is something I'm really passionate about, and you know, setting new beliefs is really, really important. And if you need to do some affirmation work about that, if you haven't done any affirmation work before, reach out to me and I can help point you in the right direction for that as well. But when you're making your new beliefs, I think it's really important to write them down. So if while you're making your 2019 goals and writing down why you want to hit these goals, and then writing down the consequence of what happens if you don't hit these goals, that's where you'll hear some fears. Your inner voice will be starting to talk to you about fears and why you might not be able to do it and why you can't dream bigger, and it's your limiting beliefs. Write those down too, so that you can cross them out and write a new belief underneath it. Yeah? So I hope that helps you guys. So like, if you'd like an example of that, sorry, I'm just flicking back through my notes, and my notepad's upside down, where I did these notes. So a limiting belief for me, if you'd like to know, might have been for my endless summer goal, it might have been that I'm not financially able to do it. I couldn't work out financially how I was going to be able to live summer to summer. So actually, sorry, I haven't explained this for people that don't understand. This means I hate winter. That was something that I wanted to take out of my life, winter. And I just have a great vibe in summer, and that's how I want to live my life. And so I decided that I'm going to travel living summer to summer. So my home is New Zealand, so I live summer in New Zealand, and then during New Zealand winter, I am now traveling to the Northern Hemisphere, or to a warmer climate for New Zealand winter to avoid it. So, my limiting belief was that I might be financially unable to do that, to live that life. But my new belief is that I have, and so it's important when you're writing new beliefs that you write them like this, that I am, or I have, instead of I will or I plan to. So I have full freedom in my life, instead of I will have full freedom in my life. But I have it. Speak as if you have it right now, because you do. It's just a limiting belief that's stopping you from understanding that. So I have the wealth and finances to live the life I choose. I do, and I honestly believe that now. So, sorry, I just have a cat that I thought was escaping. The birds are tormenting him. So write down your limiting beliefs, write down your new beliefs. And I know this is a lot of writing, guys, but you know, it's really important when you're doing your planning to do it properly. So let's just stop for a little drinks break. Okay. So from here, hopefully you've got a lot written down. You may need to pause and collate your thoughts and your things. So from here, you've got your 8 forms of wealth, which was the spreadsheet that I showed you before. I'll just screen share it again. So your 8 forms of wealth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Your 5 big rocks, which are my first 5 on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? You've done your 2018 reflection, which has allowed you to create some 2019 goals. And 5 to 10 goals, you've written down why you want to hit those goals and what the consequences are of not hitting those goals. And if it's not 2019, it's beyond. But try and make as many as you can for 2019, because we need to get you rolling. We need to get you hitting some successes in 2019, so that you too can start to trust the process and things. And then also you've rewritten some limiting beliefs and created new beliefs. Okay, so that's where we're up to. That's what we've done so far. So from here, we're going to put these plans and goals into action step by step, and broken down into daily, weekly, and monthly goals in the schedules. So I've shown you the first schedule, which is on the screen right now, and that's the 8 forms of wealth. So here you can put your daily actions and habits. So this is what I wrote down here, and rituals. So, you know, a 30-minute walk as part of my health goal every day, that becomes a ritual. You know, whether I do that every morning on my way to work, that is a ritual. And it gets to the point that you know that it's helping you so much that it's a ritual, so it must happen. And, you know, it puts you on that higher vibe level when it happens. If it doesn't happen, then, you know, that's when you'll feel it in your day. So a really great tool for things like this, guys, and I'll pop all these in the comments afterwards, is the Miracle Morning. So if you haven't heard of that, you can Google it. The Miracle Morning is a book, and you can get it in an audio form as well. And it teaches you about the 7, I think it's 7, that's 7 there, the 7 habits that you should form every morning that are individual to you, and it helps you find those habits in order to form a ritual, a morning ritual that will set you up for the day every single day. So that could be something that you start on really small to hit some of your big rocks here. So a 30-minute walk every day. Well, actually, as part of the Miracle Morning is a 60-minute every morning rituals, and made up of 7 rituals, or 6 rituals maybe it is, because it's 10 minutes each ritual. And health, you know, exercise is one of the rituals that are in it. So you actually only have to do 10 minutes of exercise as part of the Miracle Morning. But anyway, I'm sidetracking here. So daily actions, habits, and rituals are on here on this form, and your end goal and vision. So again, that's just to see what's going on here. So you can add some more in here. If I want to put, what else could I put in here? Easy daily actions, rituals, habits. So health, maybe that's eating as well. So I could have set these into 2 squares. So eating well might have been part of my inner well-being as well. And also it's part of my health, eating well. And eating well to me is just eating fresh fruit, preparing my own food. Yeah, it's my eating well. Everyone has different versions of that. So so this is the first template, which I'm going to share with you guys as well. And then we're going to go into the big one from here. So the next one I'm going to show you is a 12-monthly view. And these were shared to me when I did my personal development work by my one of my good friends and life coach, Joel. So I'd like to give him the credit for these. And they're really, really great things that he uses. And so you can reflect on this 8 forms of wealth spreadsheet. You should look at it maybe weekly and refine what you're doing every week to hit these goals, you know. Use this regularly to look at and redefine what you're doing. But these here never change. Once you've decided on your 8 forms of wealth, that is your 8 forms of wealth, and your 5 big rocks, they don't change. You don't change them through the year, because right now you've done the work to realize that these are the most important things for you. So don't try and change the course of your year based on what's important, what might change, what important things might change. You really need to think bigger than 2019 and your future life by design to get these big rocks, you know. And so the next thing I'll share with you then is the 5 monthly focus schedule. So it's a 12-month schedule, but we just focus on 5 months at a time so as to not get so overwhelmed. So let me just find that for you. Okay. Share screen. Here it goes. So not too scary to look at, I hope. It's just a blank calendar, basically. But what you're going to do is you're going to populate this with your actions and goals. So, and the rituals and habits and just the small chunks of things that need to happen to work up to your bigger 5 to 10 big goals for the year. So basically it's just filling in the gaps. That's how I start. So for instance, and it's all based around your 5 big rocks. So let me show you. I'll just stop screen sharing to show you how I've done this myself. And sorry, I don't. I do have a picture of this. I'll hold it up, but I'll also screen share so that I'm not wobbling all over the place. Let me just find this for you. Okay, so this was the very first one I did. This was in 2017. So make it big. Right, so here's what I did. Here goes my life on the line for you guys. So up the top here, I've written my 8 forms of wealth. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? That's the 8 things. And that's what you could see across the top of my 8 forms of wealth spreadsheet, right? And then these are my 5 big rocks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these were the 5 most important things out of the 8 things. And then I've still put the other 3, kept them over here because they form part of my life by design plan for sure. They still have to be part of my life. They may just not be as regular or as often or as tied into my longer term goals. They just are part of my life, part of what needs to happen for me to feel my best and to live my life by design. So what I've done up here is I've color coded them with highlighters. So you probably can't see it that well because this is just a photo of this. If you can see in my little thingy, my little video here. And so I've just color coded based on the 5 rocks, the 5 big rocks. So health is this aqua color. So what I did, guys, to fill in the, I might just see if I can make this a little bit smaller. So to fill in the, and hopefully you can see the blank one here, to fill in the empty spreadsheet for the first 5 months, remember only do 5 months at a time so that you don't get so overwhelmed. What you do to start off with is fill it in with things that you already have planned. You know, especially if they're aligned with your big 5 rocks. If they're not, and they're not even in your 8, your big 8, then, you know, you seriously need to question why you're doing whatever it is. So, for example, if, what's a good example? If you, I can't even think of an example now. If there's an event that you're, if you're volunteering at events and you know you've got some events locked in your calendar that you're volunteering at, but volunteering and giving is not part of your top 8 forms of wealth, like you know, I have it in mind, so it's cool, it's what I love to do. But if you know, I know there's a lot of people that do give their time, but they resent it and they regret it all the time because it takes them away from other things that are potentially in their big 5 rocks, right? So if you have committed yourself to I don't know, a school fair, I don't know, making some cushions for a school fair, or these are random examples. You know, if you're committed to that in February, say, but you know, it's not part of your big 5 or even your big 8, I want you to seriously reconsider why you're doing that. And if at all possible, get out of it. Because it's taking up your time and energy and it's not serving you to live your best life by design. You know, if you're doing it because it helps, I don't know, get your child to Japan on a school trip, very random again, you know, and that's important to you, your family is important to you, and travel is important to you, or something like that, then that's, you know, that's maybe why you're doing it, and that's what you can define it into. So it's just about turning all the actions that you're taking into categories, basically. So, so on this here, you can see this Life by Design sheet that I did is actually, because I did this work in April, I started doing this work in April in 2017. And so by the time I got around to actually doing this, it was, you know, from July onwards. And so I did a 12-month plan from July onwards. But you guys should start from January. And the template that I'm going to give you at the end of this that I showed you before is from January to December. But you shouldn't feel pressured to fill in the whole thing right now, just 5 months at a time. So as you can see here, what I did first was I filled in the things that I was doing anyway. So, sorry if you can't see that properly. I thought I was showing you part of another screen. So what I did was I wrote down in here stuff from my diary, from my calendar, basically. So I was going to this here, Waiheke, that's an island in New Zealand. I was going away to Waiheke for the weekend for my best friend's birthday in July. And I was also doing one-on-one sessions with Anna. She's my life coach. So I plugged in the one-on-one sessions. I think I must have been doing those monthly at the time. So I plugged them in for July and August. I had a meeting in New Plymouth for Camp Quality. Camp Quality, as I mentioned before, is a charity that I volunteer for. So that's volunteer work. And so I've coded them with the highlighters, as you can see. ATG event, that's against the grain event. That's where I learnt this stuff. You know, that's a personal development work where I learnt this planning. So very important and on my high priority list because it's part of my career / personal development in my top 5 up here, right? Mum and Sue came to Wellington. That's Mum and my godmother came to Wellington to visit me. So that's family and friends, important to me, right? So put in here everything that's currently booked in your calendar. Just do it for 5 months. So January to June or May even. Plug that in and then take a look at it and see if you can color code to your big 5 or if not your 8 forms of wealth, the extra 3 as well. And from there, you can see what's missing. You can see what's in there that doesn't fit into your big 5 rocks or the extras. And you need to, as I mentioned, think about why they're there and how you can get rid of them because they're not serving your purpose and they're taking time away from what you could be doing to form your life by design, right? And B, once you've done it this way and color coded it, you can see what's missing. So, you know, I think I probably color coded all of this and then I realized that I didn't have a lot of health stuff in here. And if health is one of my top priorities, then I need to ensure that it's part of my life by design, right? And so because on my 8 forms of wealth page, I'm going to go walking every 30 minutes, I'm going to go walking for 30 minutes every day. That's part of my health plans. And so from that, here you can see I had kilo weight goals. I don't actually do that anymore. I don't care about scales and kilos anymore because that's part of another process that I've been through. But at this time, that's what I was doing. And so I also used to do CrossFit. So I joined my CrossFit here. I was doing CrossFit and that was part of my health goals. You know, if I was still doing CrossFit now, which I'm not due to some injury that I've had, you know, I might put some more specific goals in here, like attending a competition, a CrossFit competition, you know, actually participating in it, not just watching it. Yeah, so goals and plans like that. So hopefully that's making sense, guys. So you've got your 8 forms of wealth spreadsheet shows you daily rituals and actions that you should be doing aligned with your 5 big rocks and the extra 3. And then this here is more of the bigger plan. So on this page here, you should also have in here your 5 to 10 2019 goals. And they should be color coded and put them in a date. That's what was fearful for me. Oh my God, where am I going to put these, you know? I'll just show you. So this was the first time that I did this and it's all pretty and beautiful. The second time I did this, and you can see, I don't know if you can see down the bottom here, I started writing some things for the following year. Bali, Vietnam, volunteer. And I'll just share with you now the next year that I did. Far less beautiful, but still as important. Let me see. Yeah, okay, let me share this one with you. Hello, look at this one. So I literally wrote it on the back. So here's the beautiful one, and here goes the 2018 plan. But what I want to show you guys is how this works. So I did this 2018 plan, I think probably this time last year. Probably should have done it a little bit earlier because you should always be planning 5 months in advance. So, you know, when each month you should be adding on that extra month at the end of the 5 months. You know, just keeping it rolling. So in here, I wrote down the things that I had planned for 2018. And then how they're related to my goals. I didn't color code them. These are health related, volunteer related, finance, I guess, related, friends and family, personal development events, volunteer, travel, endless summer, right? Family orientated health event. So I haven't gone into as much detail in this, and I plan to get into a lot more detail for my 2019 plans, a little bit more like the colorful one that I showed you before. Hopefully you can see this. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you can. Cool. So what I want to show you guys is when I did this, some of these things, yes, were booked in, and so they were going to happen. Other things weren't, and I wrote them here in fear that they might happen and they might not. So what happened in 2018? Yep, I went to Camp Quality. That's my volunteer work. Round the Bays, 6.5 Ks. I didn't compete in the Round the Bays 6.5 Ks because I had a calf injury. However, I still attended it with the volunteer group that I volunteer with, and I helped carry their bags and cook their sausage sizzle at the end. So that's the volunteer work. So I still threw myself into it and just tied it into another part of my big 5 forms of wealth. I did not buy a house. I came very close to buying a house. I did all the work and got in there, but I didn't end up buying it. However, it's still on the plan for long-term financial decisions. So on the 5-year plan, I think that is now. So Momentum, that was a personal development event that I went to in Auckland. Ed Sheeran, yay, in Auckland as well. Camp Quality Nightglow, that was a volunteer fundraising event that I went to. The Alaskan cruise, this is my travel. So I love to travel. That's part of my travel and adventures, is one of my big 5 rocks. Then, so that was booked and Canada was slightly booked. Then I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew that I wanted to escape New Zealand winter, and this time of year is New Zealand winter. So I just wrote down, so in November last year, I wrote down Mexico, Belize, Guatemala, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama. So that's Central America. I decided if I was going to avoid New Zealand winter, let's go somewhere nice and warm. And I hadn't been to Central America before. So this is what I chose. And all I did in advance, in about, I don't even know when, maybe March, I booked a one-way flight from Canada to Belize. My decision making is terrible, and that's all I did. And I went. So I went Alaska, Canada, Belize. And long story short, I ended up staying in Guatemala for 3 months and came home at the end of September or start of October for the family birthdays, which I wanted to be home for. It's part of my life by design. I didn't do a volunteer, which is to tie in with one of my businesses, so where you can go and volunteer and travel at the same time. Thus scheduled volunteer trips. I didn't manage to do that. However, I did manage to volunteer while I was in Guatemala. So just a bit more impromptu, less scheduled. Just so happened that a volcano erupted 2 weeks before I arrived in Guatemala, and a lot of volunteer work was going on to help out with the rescue efforts. So threw myself into that, as I naturally would. A Dream Body is also tied in with one of my businesses. This is like a wellness retreat type trip. This was something I was looking to do, tied in with Central America. Unfortunately, there wasn't any trips at the time of year that I was looking to go. However, I still incorporated this type of thing into my Guatemala trip and sent myself away to a beautiful volcanic lake for a weekend, or for a couple of weekends actually, to get that peace and inner wellness, and just did that on my own. So, still tied it in. I came home for the family birthdays, which was really special for me. Unfortunately, this will probably change a little bit moving forward, because this time of year is still cold in New Zealand and I want to be away for summer. So it's just a tie for me of what's more important, summer or my family birthdays. Probably I'll alternate this. And then I went to Queenstown and competed in the 10K run, which is my health goals and travel goals as well. So I hope that kind of me showing you my life by design plans kind of helps you turn it all into place. And this has probably gone a little bit longer than what I expected it to. I get a little bit excited about this. But basically what you need to do with that template is just do 5 months at a time, fill it in with what you've already got booked in, highlight it, color code it based on your big 5 rocks and the extra 3 that are part of your 8 forms of wealth. Anything else that's in there that doesn't fit into those, eliminate, because in order to live your life by design, you need to make space for the things that are important to you and your plan moving forward. Populate it, make sure it's heading towards those 5 to 10 actions and goals that you created for 2019 and beyond. And just keep filling it in month by month moving forward, and do those daily habits, rituals, and actions, and you're going to ace those goals. I know it. And I can't wait to see. I would love for you all to do this and share with me if you feel comfortable to do so. Send it in a private message or share it in my groups. Share with me your Life by Design plan for the next 5 months. I can't wait to see them. I can't wait to see what you're all up to. I've put my Life by Design on the line there and shown you my last 2 years. I'm about to do the work probably this afternoon for my 2019, and I'm happy to share that with you guys too once I've done it. Share that plan with you. So that's about all I'm going to cover today, guys, because we've already been more than an hour. But I just want to, the little extras and bonuses that I want to cover, or the extra stuff that I said I would. So I talked about 2019 and beyond. So it's really important not to just live for your Life by Design, not to just live 1 year at a time. It's important to have a longer term plan. But it's also important to be in the now. Like just focus on what's happening now, not stress about what's happening in the future. And that's why we have that 8 forms of wealth daily rituals and goals. So you can just focus on those, but so long as they're working towards that 5-month to 12-month plan, and so long as that 5 months to 12-month plan is working towards your longer term goals, right? So if, like me, your 5-year goal is to buy a house, I need to be doing something, maybe not daily, but weekly or monthly in my finance area to be hitting that task within 5 years. And if I don't write it down and I don't put it in the plan and I'm not doing something regularly about it, it won't happen, right? It's why it hasn't happened already. Yep, I've probably wanted to buy a house subconsciously without really realizing it for ages. I regret not buying one when I first left school before I went traveling, because it would have been a hell of a lot cheaper then, and I would have had an investment. But, I don't regret what hasn't happened. Well, they say you only regret the things you didn't do, but I don't regret all the travel and everything else that I've done in the meantime. However, in order for it to happen, I need to put the plans in place now for it to happen. And so that's what I'm doing. So if you'd like some extra help with your 5 and 10-year goals, if you're not really figuring it out or defining it, a tool that I have been used in the past through Anna, my life coach, is doing some meditation questions. So you may not be familiar with meditation. Like me 2 years ago, it may sound a little bit fluffy and to you. And I don't do meditation that regularly, but I did find this exercise really, really helpful. So I did it in person with Anna, and we sat and I closed my eyes and she read some questions, and all I had to do was think. And they were questions related to my future. So in 5 years' time, where do I see myself? What's the location? What does it look like? What does my house look like? What does my view look like? What is the temperature like? What can I smell? What do I do daily? Those kind of thoughts. And then after 4 or 5 minutes of questions and just thinking and really getting a vision in my mind of how things look, and it's amazing what you think, what thoughts you come up with in that time. Then you grab a pen and paper and you snap out of that and you write down as much as you can remember that you just thought about, and that becomes part of your 5 and 10-year plan. So you can also do it for 10 years as well. So I have found a tool on YouTube that is similar, and so I can share the link with you for that to try, if you'd like to try and do that yourself. And it's just all about feelings and what you can visualize in your mind, and that will help you towards your end goals. So I'll share that with you guys. I'll also share these templates with you that I've been sharing. So the 8 forms of wealth template and the 5 monthly focus, the 12-month plan, but you can do your 5 monthly focus on. I'll share those with you. Now, if you're wanting to dig even deeper into your longer term goals, like I said, the things that will really get you fired up in aiming to hit goal, or coming up with your plans and goals and aiming to hit them, is your why. So having that really strong why. And there's lots of exercises that you can do, and I'm more than happy to share those with you if you reach out to me and would like to know what they are to find your why. But Another tool that was shared with me by Joel in my Against the Grain workshop that I did was a last day statement. And this is really hard. This gets you pretty emotional. So this is a statement that is basically as if you've written it on your last day before you die. So it's possibly what other people are going to read after you've died. And it's about your life and what you've done in your life. And I can share that with you too. I don't think I have it open at the moment to share. Let me just quickly find it and I'll show you what it looks like. This is it here. Let me share my screen. And you can adapt it to make it personal to you, obviously. But here we go. Oh, I just need to bring my shared window to the front. Hang on one moment, please. Oops. There's so much open. Hang on. Close everything else. I hope you've enjoyed today's session, guys, and it hasn't been too fast-paced for you or anything like that. So hopefully you can see that now, the last day statement. So today is my last day and I'm so happy and content that I have become. So it's almost like a gratefulness for your life statement, and it kind of shows what you've done in your life, what kind of person you are, what how you think you've been perceived by others, or what you've achieved, I guess, from this world, with wonderful experiences, memories, and deep relationships with I move on from. So, if you're needing to dig deeper into your life goals and plans, this could be a way that you could do that as well by trying to complete one of these, to really dig deep into what, basically it's thinking about what legacy you want to have in your life and leave behind when you leave, how you want to leave this life, having achieved. So, a lot of that you already are guys. Have belief in yourself. Like I say, there's just limiting beliefs holding you back. And I really hope this has helped you with all of this. Please reach out to me anytime. I am more than happy to do one-on-one calls with people. I'm doing those for free up until the end of this year. And I can send you the link to book a meeting with me if you'd like to do that. So it's been really great sharing this with you all, guys. Please reach out anytime with any questions. Don't forget to pop replay in the comments if you're watching the replay. I'd love to see your Life by Design templates once you've started to complete them. Please do share them with me. I'd love to see them, and I can't wait to see you all smashing your goals in 2019. Have a wonderful festive season, everybody, and I'll see you in 2019. Bye.